On Friday, 3rd September 2021, the administrator of GetFund, Dr. Richard Ampofo-Boadu, joined the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, and other dignitaries for the launch of government's One Teacher, One Laptop program at a short ceremony at St. Mary's SHS in Accra. The program aims at providing over 350,000 laptops to Ghanaian teachers in fulfillment of government's pledge to equip teachers with the requisite ICT skills to prepare the next generation for the fourth industrial revolution. At the event, the Vice President handed over laptops to all 71 teachers of the St. Mary's SHS. This initiative, which is aimed at facilitating teaching, lesson planning, and learning outcomes, is a collaboration between the Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service and GetFund as its funding agency, with government through GetFund funding 70%, whilst teachers pay 30%. President Akufo-Addo has returned 237,974 Ghana cedis, being the salary increment granted him from January to August this year. The funds paid into the pensions and salaries account of the Controlling Account General's Department is in fulfillment of his pledge during this year's May Day celebration not to raise his salary, the Vice President, ministers, deputies, and other government appointments. The measure is to minimize the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic on Ghana's public finance. This was disclosed in Accra on Tuesday by Mr. Eugene Arin, Director of Communications at the Presidency, at the weekly Jubilee House press briefing. Mr. Arin explained that when the President received his accrued salary for the period, he noticed that the directive to freeze his increments on his pay for 2021 had not been enforced. Thus, quote, leading by example, he wrote a check on September 2nd, 2021 to cover the increment on his salary to reflect the decision he took to reduce the stress on the public purse. The Agogo Tradition Council has introduced sweeping measures to curb expensive funerals in the traditional area. Among the measures are ban on the performance of widowhood rites and the use of beer and other drinks to serve mourners. In addition, special clothes and t-shirts cannot be used at any funeral within the traditional area, while the age-old one-week observance of the passing of a person, which in recent years has seen massive spending by bereaved families and well-wishers, must only be a family gathering from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. The meeting, which was chaired by the Amainhene of the Agogo traditional area, Nana Kwame Akwaku Sapong, evaluated a month's piloting of the reforms and arrived at the conclusion that the reforms led to a drastic cut on the cost of funerals and therefore were worth scaling it up across the entire traditional area. The Social Security and National Insurance Trust payments of Invalidity Pensions, that is, members of the scheme who can no longer work due to disease, an illness, or disablement of a permanent nature, has increased by 13.68% as of the end of July 2021 compared to the same period last year, data from the Trust has shown. The growth in the number of persons under the Trust Invalidity Pensions parole increased by 13.68% as 8.81 million Ghana cedis was paid within the period ending July 2021 compared to 7.75 million Ghana cedis paid during the same period in 2020. In July 2021 alone, 1.66 million Ghana cedis was paid to these invalid pensioners. In 2020, a total of 3.3 billion Ghana cedis was paid out as benefits. This is made up of 2.9 billion Ghana cedis paid to 227,000 pensioners and 16.3 million Ghana cedis paid to some 1,400 invalid pensioners. In spite of the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic, which have brought many economies to their knees, the government is working to attain 5% growth in domestic productivity. President Akufo-Addo, who gave the assurance, said pursuing that level of growth for the economy would enhance the prospects of a win-win environment for both the private sector and the country. President Akufo-Addo said the government had been able to move the economy to become one of the fastest growing in the world between 2017 and 2020, at an average of 7% GDP annual growth rate, up from the 3.4% growth it inherited in 2016. He noted that while the economies of many countries around the world were in recession last year, having recorded negative growth largely as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana's economy was one of the few that still managed to record a positive GDP growth of 0.1%. Executive Secretary of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GRIDA, Samuel Amagaibo, has described the rise in price of cement as worrying. This is after the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers in Ghana indicated the price of a bag of cement is likely to hit 60 Ghana cedis by the end of the year due to taxes and levies that affect production costs. Over the past 7 months, the retail price has shot up 3 times, hitting 27% increment. A bag of cement now sells at 50 Ghana cedis. Samuel Amagaibo says prices of building materials have increased and that will be passed on to Ghanaians. Quote, what you can do to bring down the cost of materials is to reduce taxes because it is a percentage of importation cost and importation has gone up. Any tax component that is a percentage of the product and the product is not in the country and is being imported and the cost has gone up, it means the government is automatically benefiting from increasing taxes, he stressed. Military leaders who seized power in Guinea have released about 80 prisoners ahead of a summit of the West African group ECOWAS. The leaders of the ECOWAS bloc are due to meet virtually on Wednesday to discuss the Guinea coup and the political transition in Mali. The prisoners had been opponents of President Alpha Conde, who was ousted by special forces under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya. He has accused Mr. Koundé, aged 83, of rampant corruption, human rights abuses, and mismanagement. Ismail Koundé, a member of the opposition UFDG party, said his time in prison had been difficult, but he was now hoping for a better future for his country. Quote, it's a feeling you can't explain, to be deprived of your freedom for 12 months for such trivial things and to be released under these conditions. You can't explain, he said. Guinea is rich in natural resources, including bauxite, needed to make aluminium. But years of unrest and mismanagement mean it is one of the world's poorest countries. Bauxite prices have hit a 10-year high since the coup. Five officials of South Africa's Home Affairs Department have been suspended for their role in issuing residence papers to Malawian fugitive pastors. Pastor Shepherd Bushiri had acquired permanent residence documents that were questioned by the authorities. He fled the country after skipping bail in an ongoing fraud and money laundering case. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi said the five officers were facing the disciplinary measures after investigations were concluded. The minister denied reports that the fugitive preacher had captured the Department of Home Affairs and had officers working to make his life easy. Mr. Bushiri is in Malawi, and his extradition case is yet to be concluded. The government in Zimbabwe is asking its employees to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or resign. It says the move is aimed at reducing the risk of spreading the virus. In an interview with a local radio station, Justice Minister Ziyambi says that employees who think they have the right to choose whether or not they can be vaccinated have it all wrong. The government previously introduced a new regulation for churches and restaurants to only allow people with a vaccination card inside their premises. The aim is to tackle vaccine hesitancy within the population. The Southern African country has been able to fully vaccinate 1.7 million people, about 12% of its population. About 3% of people in Africa have been fully vaccinated. No country in Africa has introduced legislation to make COVID vaccine mandatory to the population. However, some experts are of the opinion that a case can be made for such policies to be introduced as a way of tackling the pandemic and its threat to public health. Reigning African champions Algeria stretched their unbeaten run after picking up a point away from home in the qualifiers for the Qatar 2020 FIFA World Cup with a 1-1 draw against Burkina Faso on Tuesday. Elsewhere in Khartoum, Guinea-Bissau earned themselves a massive 4-2 victory against host Sudan, while in Luanda, Libya won 1-0 away to Angola. The Algerians came into the match with heaps of confidence after their opening day 8-0 thrashing of Djibouti and wanted to pick a successive win to get themselves squarely on the driver's seat. They threatened early in the 10th minute when Riyad Mahrez's teasing cross from the right evaded the target by inches, with Islam Salimani arriving a few seconds late to try making touch on goal. But the Desert Foxes got themselves ahead after 17 minutes in sublime fashion. Yus Bilili won the ball deep in his team's own half before sending Salimani through on the right with a peach of a pass. The forward then cut back across into the box, which Sofiane Fugali tapped into an empty net. England forward Jesse Lingard has rejected a contract offer from Manchester United. It is understood Lingard has concerns about how often he's likely to play this season, especially since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo. Lingard, who scored twice in Sunday's World Cup win against Andorra, impressed during a loan spell at West Ham last season. The 28-year-old's current United deal runs out at the end of the season. Lingard did have offers to move in the summer, with West Ham especially keen for him to return. He has just 4 minutes Premier League action under his belt so far this term, coming off the bench in the draw at Southampton last month. However, it will become more apparent how much he's likely to be used by manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over the next 3 weeks, during which the United open their Champions League and Carabao Cup campaigns, in addition to playing 4 league matches. Although it has been a year since the lockdown was lifted for lovers of theater and Roverman production plays, the lockdown was lifted on September 4, 2021. The fateful Saturday saw some Ghanaians troop into the National Theatre to watch the first in-person play since the coronavirus pandemic struck. Finally, a return of what they love, something normal. Even with social distancing in place, the theater was filled, at least to the needed capacity. Hand sanitizers were distributed to ensure the safety of Ghanaians present. The play welcoming these lovers of art was Devil's Wife, a play that tells the story of a young girl fearful of marriage because of past tragedies and a young pastor with so much faith. Despite the love people have for Roverman and Uncle Ebo's plays, Ghanaians are blunt in their reviews, and thus the production house could not just count on the love, but to bring their A game, and they did. Cardi B has given birth to her second child with husband rapper Offset, who she filed for divorce from a year ago. The WAP rapper revealed the news on Instagram with a picture of her newborn son wrapped in a blue blanket. Cardi B and Offset, who has 3 children from previous relationships, married in 2017 and are already parents to Culture 3. They said, quote, "We are so overjoyed to finally meet our son. He is already loved so much by my family and friends, and we can't wait to introduce him to his other siblings." Cardi B, whose real name is Balkilis Almanzar, revealed she was expecting while on stage at the BET Awards in June while performing with her husband. It was the second time she used a TV appearance to announce a pregnancy after revealing she was expecting her first child during her performance on Saturday Night Live in April 2018.